Hello everyone and welcome to the revival of my first impression series, This Is. And to rejuvenate my series, today we have a fairly new release on Steam. While it's been out before, today's game we are reviewing is Evoland. So without further ado, this is Evoland, everyone. Now, Evoland is a fairly artistic game in the RPG genres, but is not your fairly straightforward Final Fantasy style RPG. It goes through what could be best said as an evolution in games. It starts out in a very classical Game Boy-esque era of graphics, and you go through and you find certain graphical upgrades such as 2D, 2.5D, 3D, anti-aliasing, and the game progresses more and more graphically and mechanically as well. So before I even get into the review, let me go and continue from my previous game that I was playing before this, just to show you a reference point of what the game will eventually look like. So I've been playing the game for about an hour now, and this is the first city I have found after I became 3D. And as you can see, we have our normal stereotypical RPG character who is homage, if you will, to Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy series. You can even tell he's Cloud because of his sword is Cloud's sword. Now, however, I'm not going to continue from here for the review. I'm going to go back to the main menu and start a new game so you can get a feeling of what the game is like. Now, I'm not going to play the game through all the way, but because I feel like this is one of those games that it's better to play for yourself. I just want to give you my first impressions, obviously, of what I believe this game is and what I believe that makes this game amazing. So when you start off, at the very bottom of the screen, you get these little tooltips which tell you what you have unlocked. Now, obviously, we can only go right, so we have to go through all these treasure chests to unlock new things mechanically, and if you don't hear any sound, there is no sound yet. You actually have to unlock that too. Now, the thing I love most about the game when you start out is it's very Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. And if you are new to this channel or have never seen any other videos of mine, you should know first off that RPGs are probably my favorite genre of games. And the only problem one of the main problems I have with this game is the controls are not really set out really well, but they're mostly intuitive. They're like arrow keys or WASD let you move, and your spacebar is your sword. So it's very intuitive, but it would be nicer if they could. I don't even know how they would implement it. Just something. And now we've unlocked music. But now that we have this sword, we can finally go and start cutting down bushes. And this is a save point which we don't have, but now we do. And for the very beginning of the game, it feels very much like another indie game called DLC Quest in the unlocking sort, in that you have to unlock certain things, but eventually this game it starts to feel more like a traditional RPG. It's just evolving through different, I would say, time areas, or times, yes, I guess so, in like Game Boy Advance timeline, or not Game Boy Advance, Game Boy timeline to PlayStation to modern and so on and so on. Oh jeez, come on, Bat. Please just walk onto my sword. Thank you. But for now, I like what I like though is how they implemented the story, in that you have to actually find a chest, and the story is nothing spectacular. It's your stereotypical, you're a good guy, and ancient evils all around the land. You are the only one who can save the world, pretty much, so go for it. Go find some mystical item to save the world. So, we're gonna do just that. We're gonna find... And another thing I like is, from the creators, is they will take jabs at themselves. Like, if you just saw, they were just taking a jab at how some RPGs don't have the richest stories, and I don't want to die. I'm really trying to be careful to not die because... Oh, we have signs now, thank you. Let's see what the sign says. This path is reserved for agile adventurers, but I like what was I saying? The reason I was being so cautious, or I'm still being cautious, is because there's no health bar, so everything right now is a one-hit kill. The access has been blocked by the dimensional stone, okay. And we have free movement now, which it lets us go now. We're not stuck in the 4 cardinal directions, so we can go back here and just squeeze on through. And we have little stone knights. And we have our inventory now, but these stone knights, I've been calling them stone knights. They remind me of the dark nuts though from Legend of Zelda. But I do like the style of the artwork in all forms of it too. Not just like this form, but once you get to 3D and while it's 2D, and we now have the overworld of Days Past. And now we get a new fighting style. So now we have the traditional, what people know from the Final Fantasy series, of the turn-based RPG style. So now we're gonna have some fun with turn-based RPG back and forth. And if you notice, we don't have a name yet, which they actually will remedy eventually. And we get another graphical change. You got Mode 7, it looked really gorgeous when it was introduced back in 1990. I still think it looks gorgeous too. Place's name, so now we are in the meadow, which is very fine. So we have this place. And obviously there are little hidden things you can find just by walking around. Like there are stars, I don't know exactly what they do because when you pick up a star, it's like try and find all the stars in the game. And I'm guessing you might get something if you beat the game with all the stars. I have no idea. As I have said before, I have not beaten the game yet. I have only played an hour of it. But I do like the, what I do like is the classical style of, I would say, I don't know. Wait, chest unlocked. I would say I like the classical style of the turn-based battles, and now we have found a village too. And we have NPCs, but the thing is, the NPCs are kind of mean when you first out, because you're still a child. And they will not talk to children, apparently. But if you actually, I know what to do, but if you find this guy, he's another child, and he'll talk to you, and he will tell you what to do next. And he says there's a growth seed around, but which will make you an adult, but it fell down a well, and he doesn't want to go down there. Oh, and I never showed off our inventory. So we have a potion, and that's it. But as we go on, we have to look through the city, or the village, and find a well to get the growth nut to progress anymore. And we have found the growth nut, which actually is very reminiscent of a Deku seed. But now we have become an adult. Or at least a teenager. The main thing is that adults will talk to us now, so we can go and continue with our quest. This game though, while it is in 2D form... Oh yeah, another thing is, this is our attack now. While it is in 2D form, like 2D top-down, it reminds me a little bit of A Link to the Past in that it is go here, go there, find stuff, and collect random things, like in Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, it's like go here, find a hook shot, go here, find your boomerang. Here it's like go here, find a graphical upgrade, go here, find, I don't know, scrolling. And the reason I'm going back out is I need money because they won't let you pass the village unless you have better equipment, and obviously we need more money for that. And we get Gliss, or Gliss, which is a typo though. Now, that is another problem I have with the game though, is that there are a number of typos, but when I was researching the company Shiro Games, they are situated based in France. Now, so I will cut them a little bit of slack because I don't know if English is their native language or not, so I guess so, but they're supposed to be gills, really. And now I have to find a chest that lets me go into houses, which I don't remember exactly where it is. There it is, I think. Yeah, now we can go into houses, finally. But the reason we go into the houses is because we want to find... not the innkeeper. The innkeeper comes later, but a nice little effect is, by spending 10 gills, you get to rest and get full health, obviously, but they implemented one thing from classic RPGs is the save point from the inn. So just by sleeping, we get to save our game. And in the early game, I would say you want to save a lot because it still one-shot kills you, and this is what we're looking for, is the shop. Thank you, hello shopkeeper. And now to get out of here, we need a long sword, and we also need copper armor, which I need 110 more gills for. So we will just go outside and do the typical RPG grind of farming up money. And you can actually just go and explore around the whole overworld and find random treasure chests which have extras and stuff. But now that we have our longsword, these guys are just one-shotted. But the reason is I need 110 gills and I just need 10 more gills now. So let's start heading back and we'll probably run into a random encounter. But now that it is back to this overworld area, I feel like this is a very reminiscent of a game that's also paying homage to a lot of older RPG games called Call of Cthulhu. And Call of Cthulhu was also very reminiscent, an homage, I guess I would say, like I said before, of the older games. And now we have got an armor and a new sword. But Call of Cthulhu was another, I believe it's also an indie game. It also has a turn-based overworld kind of style. And now we can go out too. They don't stop us anymore by putting a barrel in our paths. But let's continue to the next place. And we also get our new party member too, in typical RPG fashion. We get to save our next party member, who is our healer too. Which is why I've not been too worried about my health, because we get a healer. And you also get to name it too. Or name her, I should say, not it. And we have our healer, who gets revived with our Phoenix down. Thank you for saving me from those monsters. And now we go to the next branch of our quest. I need the crystal in the cave to save my hometown. Will you help me? And you cannot choose no, which is a little jab at that you're always forced into the story, which it says at the bottom, obviously, too. And if you want, we can rename her, but I'm not going to be mean and call her, I don't know, Bud or something. She can keep her name of Karis. And we come to our cave. Or dungeons, which is very nice. We need to find the crystal. Its power can change your perception of the world, and with it you can fight the evil that threatens my village. By the way, I just noticed that I forgot to ask your name. So now you could put in your name if you want, but I'm just going to keep him as Clink for now. I guess it's a fine name. But now that we're here, we have our second party member, and we're going to have random encounters now in the cave as well, but our second party member, she can attack too, but she's really just the heal bot, really. And just my strategy when I have her is just spam heals, because there's no mana system in the game. And there might be a mana system later, I don't know yet. I haven't played far enough to find one if there is. And you also have random items just strewn around over the area if you just look in random like boxes and barrels and stuff, as you saw previously. And another thing is, later in the game you get experience too, so you're not always going to be stuck at level 1 like you are now. So for now, I guess this is a good area to stop at. We're going to be at the first boss soon. I'll probably just defeat the first boss, I would say, and then I'll end it there. But for now, this has been Evoland. It's a wonderful game. If you are a fan of RPGs, I would say this is a must-get. While it's an art, I believe I would qualify this as an artistic style game, is no means in any way a bad RPG. It's actually a very fun RPG too. But I would say if you like these kind of games that like to poke fun and just go and explore a certain genre of games, like DLC quests, like DLC quests did that, but with DLCs itself. And this game is doing it, but with RPGs, that you can see how RPGs have evolved throughout the ages. And we're just getting loads of money too, which is not that useful. Once, at least I haven't found more money useful yet. There might be another store, but I don't know. Another gripe of mine, I would say though, is I kind of wish it had controller support. Like, I don't mind mouse and keyboard. I would actually probably be using mouse and keyboard even if there was controller support, but a lot of people love, like, just to plug in an Xbox controller and to sit on like a couch or something, have their computer hooked up to their TV display, and just play this kind of game on their TV while just sitting back and chilling on their couch and stuff with a controller. Because I know that Call of Cthulhu you can use a controller, so it's not that it's too hard, I would say. I don't know if it's too hard. I didn't create this game, but I don't believe it would be too hard to put a controller in this game anyway. Which way should I go? This way? There's a chest which I can't get to because of rocks are in the way. But for now, yeah, we'll just create or end this game, end this review when we get to the boss and defeat the boss. And more money, and here we go. Experience. So now we can level up, which I would probably want to level up once or twice maybe before we fight our boss, because the boss is kind of tough. And yes, our healer can attack too if you haven't noticed already. While her attacks aren't really going to be that amazing and her accuracy is kind of terrible. But we're just going to continue here. And we're going to run into, and we're now level 2. I got attack for my guy and defense for the girl. And I believe this is going in, oh geez, it's been so long since I played Call of Cthulhu though, that, oh, we got our fountain where we can save at. But I believe Call of Cthulhu did this too, where it just gave you random stats as well. But it's also, this game is also going to give you random stats in whatever. But we're going to be fine. We shouldn't have too much trouble. It's not that the game is difficult at all. It's just your typical RPG. This game's not meant to be a harrowing game. And it's not meant to make you cry and pull out your hair. It's meant to be more of a, oh hey, nostalgia boner. I remember these kind of games and stuff. It's meant to be that, I would say. Because if you notice, like, the main reason I believe it's not meant to be a hard game is, first off, our healer can just keep casting heal over and over. It's a multi-target heal, and it's free too, so it's not like we're gonna be in need of health, really. And we're here to the crystal, which is our boss, a la Final Fantasy. This one looks powerful. He was the crystal's guardian for many centuries, but he's been corrupted, so obviously we have to kill him and take back the crystal. And for now, he's not gonna actually fight back too, but he now has animation too, so he's a little bit angry that we've kind of woken him up. But he's not too difficult of a fight, as long as you just have your character constantly hitting him and your healer constantly healing. They're not gonna die. Unless he just focuses down your healer, which he's kind of doing to me right now. And this means he's going into counter mode, which is kind of a bad thing, because my healers might actually die. If my healer dies, I'm kind of screwed. But I would say, though, this game is $10 on Steam. If you like RPGs, this is a must-buy. It is on sale, too, for 10% off at the time of I am making this video, too. So if you really like RPGs, it's only $8.99, too. So go ahead and buy it. I love this game. Like, I've played about an hour and a half now, and I love this game. And I would also like to thank Shiro Games for sending me a review copy. It has allowed me to rejuvenate my first impression series and my review series, so thank you very much, Shiro Games, if you watch this, which I don't know if you would, but thank you again if you are somehow watching this. But right now, yeah, as you can see, he's not gonna do... we're not in danger of dying. He's a simple tank and spank, if I want to use a terminology from World of Warcraft or any MMO. I'm not even sure where that originates from. But as you can see, we're not in any immediate danger of dying. He's gonna hopefully die before us. Because while I'm able to heal, he's still doing more damage to me than I can heal. And he's dead, thank you. And level 3. The crystal has been activated, and this is where we become 3D. And now we have our first 3D graphics. And it's still the same controls, except now we have a little secondary attack too. If you mash your spacebar in the proper way, you can do a little backswing too. And now the world looks like this. How great. And you even get new music too. But let's find a enemy. Has my mouse cursor been on there this whole time? I apologize if it has. But now we have found enemies, and we can continue. And now we have our health system, so it is using the heart system that Legend of Zelda uses. As I have said before, this game at its core is an homage to popular and non-popular, in fact, to the RPG genre in general. But it is an homage, there is an homage to Legend of Zelda and Final Fantasy games. Like, your character himself, he looks a little bit like Cloud, or at least the very stereotypical JRPG character. Young person, blonde, spiky hair, a sword on a quest. Or maybe Link, I guess, because he is wearing green. But for now, thank you everyone for listening to me and my humble opinion on this game. Once again, this game is Evoland. It is on Steam. It is on their own personal website. I will link in the description if you want to check out this game, a link to their website and a link to the Steam page if you wish to buy it. I would definitely recommend buying this if you're an RPG fan. Even if you're not an RPG fan, it is still a fun game itself. So with that said, and all is here and done, my name is Zenaton, this is Evoland, and peace out everybody.